Hello friends, welcome back to another video here on my channel, Helki Rain. Today I wanted to sort of kick off a bit of a new series that I want to do where I talk about how the cards show up not only in our everyday personal lives, but also how do they show up in things like movies, TV and music. When you start looking for the tarot within these places, you really start to see it so clearly show up. And while I was thinking over what sort of maybe a particular film I want to talk about, a particular album or something, I did notice a theme of one card in particular that I see almost everywhere. It shows up so often, much more than any other energy. And let's see if you can guess. Well, you're gonna guess it from the title of this video probably, but that card is in fact, without doubt, the Devil card. So this card often shows up in these places in the form of addiction, obsession / stalking, greed, ego, control, imprisonment, selfishness, and almost like a fixation on the material world, and in some cases like a domination over matter. Basically being ruled by the ego in some way. And it really does sort of confirm what I already knew, is that we do live in a very satanic culture and society where importance is really put on your success, and material belongings are often put above other things, and definitely put above our connection with ourselves, connection with God itself. It's all much more about this 3D existence, this physical realm. And I'm sure as I'm sort of saying this, you're realizing yourself, wow, that really does show up everywhere. It shows up not just in our music, our movies, our TV, but it shows up every day in our lives so strong, even to the fact that right now I'm drinking a coffee, and this is definitely feeding that devil energy. It's a form of an addiction. It's a way for me to maybe suppress an appetite, suppress a need for more healthy energy, because this is going to give me energy, but it's that devil kind of energy. It's not that healthy and fulfilling energy that maybe I would get from healthy eating or something like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. We can enjoy coffee, we can enjoy a glass of wine some evenings. We can really enjoy these things. It's a massive part of our lives, and with it being a massive part of our culture, our society, it's very difficult to go through life even on a daily basis without in some way falling into that devil energy. Even when we find ourselves falling in love, we can fall into an obsession, seeking fulfillment from another person for our own satisfaction, even though it's coming from such a beautiful place like love. The devil energy really does sink its teeth into absolutely everything. Even when we might class ourselves as quite spiritual people, you might find yourself actually losing yourself a bit in the ego of I am a spiritual person. There's a form of ego there, there's that devil energy there, even if you don't realize it exactly. Maybe you subconsciously see yourself as better as other people because you're more connected with spirit, you're woke, you're awake. That puts you above others, that in some way has that element of ego in there. So I'll probably be honing in more on maybe particular movies in the future, and then talking about all the different cards of the tarot that I see show up, say, in that one movie. But today I really wanted to focus on the devil, because I thought before I actually get started on looking at how the cards show up in things like the movies and music, it would be good to talk about the common denominator. Is this guy. He is often there. This energy is very often present. So I've written down just a few examples, and I could go on and on and on, but obviously I don't want the video to last forever, and I tried to sort of select movies and music that I feel like most people would have known. But I am going to go through all those movies that I've listed and all the music that I've listed here, just so we can talk about briefly exactly how this energy shows up, and maybe after watching this video you can go on with your life and really start to pinpoint when you see the devil energy showing up in your own life, but also in the TV that you're watching, the movies, the music, and how that actually can affect us subconsciously a lot and manipulate us. So we are constantly being sort of manipulated by this devil energy, as it is very much woven into our society, and why in some perspectives you can see it's a very satanic society that we live in. And you don't have to agree necessarily with that terminology, but it is that manipulative and very 3D and material world focused energy, very ego driven. So I'm not saying that the devil alone is represented in all of these movies and music. It's definitely a combination of different tarot cards, of course, and I will try and reference the cards that the devil is working with as much as I can in this video. So the first movie that I want to talk about is The Matrix. In The Matrix, I feel like the devil energy really shows up in the form of the AI, the computer systems that are controlling the Matrix, controlling us, and basically imprisoning people, humans, into this way of living, into this system where they can feed off our energy. The computers are using us almost as batteries to feed off of our energy. That is very much devil energy. It works very strongly in this film alongside with tower energy, where Neo, like his whole foundation of his reality and what he thinks life is completely shattered, and there is no foundation, and he has to fight to work with what he has, the destruction of what he thought was real, and basically start again. I also think that shows up with the Nine of Cups energy, because he knew his whole life that he was searching for something, even though he wasn't quite sure what it was. It was the answers to something. With the Nine of Cups, that he got what he wanted. His wish was confirmed there, but it works alongside with that devil energy and that tower energy, where it's like you got what you wanted, but it's not maybe what you was expecting. Or it's like when that Nine of Cups goes reversed, it can be unsettling to be left with those questions within yourself of, well, this is what I wanted, but now that I'm here, you know, I don't know if this really is what I wanted, if I can handle it. Then it obviously has that Five of Wands energy, where there is that push, that confrontation there, and that push for change. With that Five energy is definitely in the Matrix, where they're pushing for change, they're pushing to end this control, to break the chains of the devil and have a new way of living, rebuild from the destruction of the tower. So there you can see the devil energy definitely shows up very strong in that movie. Next movie is Twilight. Twilight has a very strong devil energy, and it comes in the form of love, obsession, and the whole Twilight series So new moon, eclipse, it all has this theme with it. It works alongside with very strongly with the Lovers card. We have these two lovers and they're very much bound in where the lovers sometimes can take the form of the Devil card, where there becomes such a strong addiction and obsession to each other, which we see with Bella and Edward. There is like no one else is in the room when they're together. They're so fixated on each other, and this is something that some of us very much look up to, and we find this very romantic. But technically, when you pull yourself out of that perspective, it's got that unhealthiness that you see with the Devil card, because when you're working with that kind of amount of obsession and almost addiction to each other, you will come across these energies like the Three of Swords. The Three of Swords works in this devil energy in these movies because it's that pain, it's that they are two separates, and when they have to come together it causes pain, because Edward's a vampire, Bella's a human, it's not meant to be, and that obsession, that love that they have for each other, it becomes very painful in this instance. So we see it working very strongly, the Devil with the Three of Swords. And as well, in a similar way, we have the Five of Cups working with the Devil and the Three of Swords in the same way. For example, in the movie New Moon for Twilight, Bella is very much in a heavy energy of grief that you see with the Five of Cups, but also very wrapped up in herself and her selfishness and her wanting of Edward. She forgets to care about the people in her life that she does have at that time, and she's so struck with the grief, that Five of Cups energy of Edward not being there anymore. But she doesn't see the abundance of love that she does have in her life with her family, her friends, and Jacob. So even though she's going through this unbelievably painful grief and heartbreak with the Five of Cups and the Three of Swords, it's very much being ruled still and working with the energy of the Devil, because she's also very wrapped up in her own selfishness, her own ego, and trapped in her own perspective in a sense. When it works with the lovers, it's that unhealthy addiction to love, you know, where it overtakes every part of your life. And that's why in the original Rider-Waite-Smith Devil card, it actually is the two same people from the Lovers card, but they're chained up to the Devil. So when you use the Devil with the Lovers card, it's a very heavy energy of being so entangled that it's actually at your own detriment. So the last card that I think really shows up in that movie and works alongside the Devil card is the Moon card, because there's a lot of shadows and secrets that need to come to light, and the only reason they need to come to light, for example, Edward's at the beginning of Twilight, he wants to keep it secret that he's a vampire. He's not trying to tell Bella about that. She figures it out in the end, but that is a shadow of his, and it works with the Devil, because even though he loves Bella, he has these pure loving feelings for her, he still wants to keep a distance from her. He also wants to keep secrets, which is that moon shadowy energy, and this definitely brings the moon and the Devil together, because it is in fact his ego that doesn't trust her. There's that lack of trust, and there's also manipulation at play. So I see all these cards very present, but also all working very strongly with that overall energy of the Devil. The next film is Practical Magic. So in Practical Magic, you see the sisters trying to get away with doing something they know deep in their hearts isn't right, but trying to get away with black magic. They was definitely doing the black magic in their own interest to protect themselves for selfish reasons, which is of course that devil energy. Even though their aunts like didn't want anything to do with it, they knew what they were doing was wrong, they still went ahead with it. So it was working very strongly with the moon energy, the moon and the devil, because they was doing this in the shadows. They wanted to keep this secret. They're trying to get away with something. If they're trying to get away with something, you also see the devil working very strongly with the Seven of Swords energy, because they're trying to get away with something they know isn't right. It just shows up very strong in that card. Even when the character played by Nicole Kidman, she was often falling into these devilish ways. She was getting very sucked into the material world, forgetting who she is as a witch at heart, forgetting what she's capable of and putting that to good. She was much more interested in her own ego, her own selfish needs, and then she found herself getting wrapped up with very devilish men, and that's how she got into this situation with a very dangerous man and getting herself into trouble, which often the devil energy is always going to lead you down those troublesome routes. It can all start off almost naive. It can start off like, I'm just trying to have fun, I'm really indulging in the material world, I just want to live, and that's all well and good to a certain extent. But when we forget our own inner calling, ourselves, who we truly are, then it can become troublesome. Also, when we're overruled by our own selfishness, our own ego, it becomes troublesome, and then you find more devilish characters being drawn into your life, as we saw with Nicole Kidman's character in Practical Magic. The next film that I want to talk about is American Psycho, and I think this is one of those films where it's really obvious to see the devil energy. It's so clear, like clearly he is the embodiment of the devil energy, the character played by Christian Bale. He has an addiction to perfectionism, an addiction to success, an addiction to greed. He is selfish, complete and utter psychopath. But there is such a strong energy of control, of manipulation and obsession with the material world and gaining control over that. That's where I see the devil energy working in hand with the emperor energy in this film, because he really does want that emperor control of things, that domination of his surroundings, to feel like he is the emperor, he is the best, he has the best of everything, and he really wants to give off that persona to the world. But when you really have that stability of the emperor, you're not going to see the connection so much with the devil energy, but his character very much is this combination, because he wants that, he wants to give off that, but it's all about manipulating others to think that he is this emperor when he's not stable, he's not grounded, he's not confident. Like, this is all about confidence. So when we're putting in the devil, you get that false confidence that you really see in the character in American Psycho. You also see where he's obviously struggling with his mental health and what he perceives as reality and what actually is reality. He's very much mixing the devil energy here with the Seven of Cups energy. So this is all about like being lost in delusions and trapped in your own illusions, lost in your own fantasy world, so much to a point where you don't actually know what is real anymore. And when you mix this with the devil, you see him really get lost in this illusion that he is all that matters, that he is even in some way a god in his own little world, and if things aren't the way he wants them to be, then he's going to destroy them, he's going to change them. He's going to control them, manipulate them so that things can go his way. And he's almost trapped in this illusion that you see here with the Seven of Cups, where he cannot for the life of him see past his own ego and his unstable view of reality and thoughts. And this is quite nicely in the movie combined with this energy of the Ten of Pentacles, which obviously we relate to as such a positive card. It's really about having everything that you wanted, really being in a more complete place in life, feeling really grounded, feeling really supported. But again, when you mix that with that devil energy, it's false. It's a facade in a way of his success. It's not real, because really he's trapped in this ego place where he can never feel fulfilled. It's almost like the energy of Rahu, or the North Node in astrology, where you take in, you take in, you take in, because it's just a head without a body. You can never actually feel fulfilled. And I do think that is a very strong energy that comes with the devil card. It's this needing to constantly be stimulated, constantly have our egos stroked, feeling like we need to keep consuming and never actually feeling fulfilled, because we're actually looking for that fulfillment in the wrong places. With the main character in American Psycho, you see the devil card very much pushing this persona of I've got it all, I'm so perfect, everything's great, everything's Ten of Pentacles. But you as the viewer can see into his mind and see actually it's very much all in his mind. It's very much an illusion that he's creating, and he's very much ruled by his own ego. Also bring in this Five of Swords energy to the devil in this movie, because he has no qualms about hurting others to get what he wants, destroying other people's lives, even killing other people to get what he wants. And that Five of Swords energy definitely works very well in a lot of movies with the devil card, especially any movies that are sort of about these sort of characters, psychopaths and stuff like that. You really do see a strong combination of the devil card with the Five of Swords, because there is no thought for others. It's all about what I want, and whoever gets hurt, it doesn't matter, that's the way it is, because I need to get what I want. Also, I find the cards that seem to play a role with the devil in most movies that I've looked into, I see the energies that come up with the devil a lot in movies and music is always the Five of Swords, the Seven of Swords, and the Lovers card tend to team up very often with the devil. The next movie is The Lake House. In this movie, you see the devil show up in the form of obsession and almost like an addiction to wanting something that you can't quite have. So we see Keanu Reeves' character really obsessed with writing these letters to Sandra Bullock's character, and her the same for him, but somehow because of the time difference they aren't able to come together, but they spend the whole movie basically so fixated on their feelings for each other, so much so that it almost puts their own lives on hold. And it is very much the devil energy there, because it is obsessive to the point where it does affect their own lives. It's that energy of I want what I can't have, but allowing that to overtake you and consume you. It works very well with the Five of Cups energy, because you see that grief and this longing that they have for each other, the pain and the suffering that they're causing to themselves when they continue to obsess over and yearn for something that is unattainable for them for most of the film. Again, of course, it's working with the Lovers card, because again you have that situation where you have the lovers are bound by the chains of the ego of the devil, where they can't quite let go of wanting to control the situation and wanting to things to go their way. Even though it seems like such an impossibility, they still allow this to take over their lives and leave them for so many years in a state of Five of Cups energy, where they feel so powerless and unable to focus on anything else than what they actually can't have, which, you know, brings so much pain and misery. Because even when we're talking about beautiful energies like falling in love and passion, if it can't be obtained, it will cause pain. And that is a very familiar energy we see with the Devil card: pain, destruction, obsession. The next film is 50 Shades of Grey. Again, very similar with the last example. We have that main theme of the devil working with the Lovers card, where we have two lovers who are very obsessed with each other. It's love at first sight kind of energy, but the obsession also shows up in this film because it's very clear that there's a type of sex addiction for Christian Grey, where he needs to have things his way. So there you see the Devil card very much so working with the Four of Pentacles energy, because the Four of Pentacles energy is very stubborn. It's I have what I have and no one else can have it. So you see how he's very overly protective of Anna. It's like, you're mine, you're only mine. And it's not just that, it's like, I need things my way, I have relationships my way. It's very much that Four of Pentacles energy, where there's not a lot of room for movement, there's not a lot of room for change, and this causes a lot of pain because it's combined with the Devil card. These are creating restrictions on the relationship, and it's very much this obsession, this addiction to the way he wants things, his sex addiction. It's very much controlling the relationships and the outcome of the relationship. You also see the Fool card actually. So you see the devil working with the Fool here, because it's almost like Anna is very innocent. She doesn't know anything. She doesn't have experience in the same way that Christian does with his way he likes to have the relationship, which is, you know, his way we've all seen in the film. So he sort of wants to take this innocent Fool energy, which is Anna, and sort of manipulate her to accepting his stubbornness of how he wants things to be, having the relationship exactly how he wants, and he's not willing to move, he's not willing to budge on that with that Four of Pentacles energy. And she's sort of coming in as this like fresh, sort of very easy to manipulate. That the Fool energy is very easy to be molded into whatever you want it to be. So he's very much using the energy of the devil to mold and manipulate Anna into feeding his own addictions, and not actually looking like you should in a healthy relationship to be open to each other and have growth together, because they are very much, with the Lovers card, chained into manipulation, obsession, addiction and control. And obviously it doesn't mean that somebody like Christian cannot have what he wants, have that kind of lifestyle he wants, but you see him using the devil energy in this story because he is very much, like I said, manipulating the Fool energy, which is this sort of very changeable energy to fulfill his own needs and wishes, and projecting what he wants onto this almost blank canvas that we find with the Fool energy. The next film is The Truman Show. So the devil shows up strongly in the Truman Show because you see how the TV show company is completely manipulating Truman, manipulating him so much that they've created this false reality around him where he doesn't know anything that's going on. He has no awareness that he's even being filmed. He's being completely controlled, imprisoned and manipulated, which is very much the devil energy. You see the devil energy working alongside this energy of the Knight of Wands, because when the Knight of Wands is not in such a healthy place, or it's being manipulated by something like the devil, you'll see very much like a user, someone who's going to use you, get what they can, and not care too much about you, more about their own needs, fulfilling their own needs. That very much is the Knight of Wands combined with the devil, and you see that with the people producing the show and the main director of the show. He is very much using Truman for his own success, for this like #1 TV show that he's created, but he's completely using Truman to gain that for himself. He's not sharing that. He hasn't got any awareness or care even towards the needs of Truman. He only really cares about the success of the show and fulfilling his own needs and boosting his own ego in this whole like devil card energy setting of control, imprisonment, manipulation. It's the whole show is very much based on this energy. It also works alongside the energy of the Fool, because the Fool is our Truman. He is this innocent person who's been completely controlled, imprisoned and manipulated by this company, this TV show that is the devil energy. The next film is the Disney classic, the original cartoon of Sleeping Beauty. Sleeping Beauty is heavy with devil energy. The whole film, the princess Aurora is being completely manipulated by everybody in her life. She doesn't even know who she is when she's growing up, because they're trying to keep it a secret who she is. So that is very much the devil energy working with the moon energy, because there's so much hidden in the shadows, so much secrets that haven't been revealed, that she doesn't know about, that's completely imprisoning her from living the true life that she should be living with her family. No one even trusts her enough to even tell her who she is and why she is in this place. She can't even be trusted to know the truth of who she is. And it's not that they mistreat her, the fairies that are looking after her, or anything. It's not that her parents don't love her, but it's a strange play on the devil energy, because there's no trust, or there's no mutual understanding between them and the princess. It's very much like we need to think for her, she can't think for herself. So I do see the Fool playing there as well, because they don't even trust her to know what's going on with herself in her own life, and she's being very much hidden and kept in the dark, kept in a very naive place for most of her life, until she then gets captured by the Queen of Swords energy that works alongside here with the devil energy. You see come up with the witch Maleficent. She very much is not considering Aurora's own life or needs. She wants revenge on the parents, but she's taking it out on Aurora. She's not considering her emotionally or as a person herself. She's very much seeing things how she sees them and having no compassion for Aurora. So when you mix that Queen of Swords energy with the devil, it very much brings that out in people, where they're very fixated on their plan and feeding their ego and not having any compassion or even emotional understanding at all for others. And I feel like that's kind of happening a lot with Aurora in this film. Is it doesn't seem like anybody in her life who's protecting her even seem to really have much compassion or trust in her. They like to keep her in a very naive place, which actually ends up getting her into more trouble. Of course, because it's a romance, you see the devil working alongside with the Lovers card, of course. So you see there becomes a very strong obsession with the prince for Aurora. He goes through hell to go and save her from the witch, and he's fighting the dragons in the tower. He's doing all this because he's so desperate to save her. And I must confirm again that I don't think that the devil energy is bad in a sense. I don't think that it's so bad at all to have this strong passion and obsession, if you like, with somebody you love, especially if it's mutual. So in this case it is mutual. Obviously it's not healthy if the feeling's not mutual, but it is very much overplayed and it can be driven by our own selfish needs. His desire to be with Aurora, his desire to obtain his obsession, it still comes down to that devil energy, and it's not about it being good or bad. This world is all about polarity, and we need both sides to play out, and we will always find ourselves pulled in the direction of polarity and what's good and what's bad. And sometimes it's great that we can stay neutral, but it's unrealistic when we're down here in a physical form to always stay neutral. And a good story is often told through movies and music and TV through the energy of the devil, because it's more entertaining, it is more thrilling, if you like, to explore this energy in these formats. And as I was saying at the beginning of the video, we are very much in this type of society where we are very much ruled by the devil energy, whether we want to admit it or not. Our everyday life is, and it's just seeing more extreme versions of that in the movies. The next film is Clueless, and this is a very similar energy that you'll see in the film Mean Girls as well. So Clueless really shows the devil card because there is a strong domination of matter over spirit. So it's all about how you look, what you've got, success and vanity, all these sort of material realm indulgences where it doesn't matter who you are inside. You could be ugly inside, but as long as you're beautiful on the outside, that's all that matters. Like such a strong focus on physicality, which comes with that devil energy, where you sort of completely abandon any sort of moral compass or inner peace, inner love, self-love, treating others with respect, whoever they are. It's sort of all determined on who you are, what you look like, and having your whole life completely dominated by that. Like you see in movies like Clueless and Mean Girls that their lives are about material wealth and physical appearances. It seems to be the main focus in their lives, and almost creates such a vacant, shallow and kind of sad reality. Again, in these films you'll see it sort of working with that Ten of Pentacles energy, the same as in American Psycho, because it is all about I've got it all and I need to prove that I'm better than others and that I have more than them, and that like raising yourself up and sort of being showy about it is really that combination of the Ten of Pentacles and the Devil energy, where there is this strong manipulation of I have it all and that's why I'm popular, which all comes down to just a complete domination of matter over spirit and not actually having any concern for other people unless they can reach your standards or do something for you. The next film is 10 Things I Hate About You. This is sort of a romantic classic, if you like, from the 90s, I believe, and the main way that you see the devil show up in this film is kind of through like a stalking way. That obsession, stalking, that again comes from a desire of love, but also to fulfill their own selfish desires of I want this person, so I'm going to stalk them, manipulate them, push myself into their life until they accept me. And again, you see Lover's card coming into play because it's again being sort of chained by love in that obsessive way. And you see that there's two plots going on here because you have the two sisters, and both of the guys that are pursuing each of them have this mentality where they are sort of obsessed on the goal of obtaining the girl, and they do, because then you mix the Devil card with the Six of Wands and they get that victory, they get the girl in the end, but it is through these means of stalking her and manipulating situations and pushing and pushing and pushing for what you want until you obtain it, and then you get the girl. And it came through that stalking, that obsession, which isn't the healthiest way, which is the Devil card. And you do actually see in a lot of romantic movies, this is often very much romanticized theme that you see with the stalking and the obsession. I recently watched Constantine and I saw even the devil come up in that, even though obviously this film sort of is about demons and the devil, and he basically works at removing like demons from people, and so he's literally working with the devil as the actual story here. But you see the devil show up in many other ways. It shows up in his heavy addiction to his work, but his addiction to also cigarettes, which is in turn killing him. You see this complete lack of awareness, this even though he is obviously a spiritual guy because he's able to remove these demons from people and work in this way, but he does have such a lack of self-awareness in the sense of he's always sort of working for his own ego. He's very dismissive of others. He's not considerate of other people's feelings as such. He's very much stuck in his own world and his own woes, like woe it's me. And I love the character Keanu Reeves plays in this film, but you can still see he's very much entrapped by the energies of the devil card. And even spoiler towards the end, when he is escaping the devil himself and he's sort of floating away and giving the finger to the devil, he is still in the energy of ego there. It's very easy to see in that film, even beyond the devil himself is in the film, the demons are in the film, but you see in the character that we grow to love while watching it, Constantine, you see in him that he has very much many devil-like qualities. The next film is 101 Dalmatians, where we see the devil energy show up in the evil lady Cruella de Vil, where all she cares about is stealing puppies for her own selfish needs. She wants to control, imprison them, kill them, inflict pain on them. It's very much the devil energy, all for her own selfish desires, which are material desires. So again, you see the manipulation of being very material dominated and disconnected from spirit, completely controlled by, okay, what can I obtain in the material realm? You see the devil card working with the Queen of Swords energy here, where she is very disconnected from her emotions. She doesn't feel any way about killing the puppies. You also see with the Seven of Swords that she's trying to steal them. She's not even trying to buy them at this point. She's trying to get away with stealing them and creating even more of this abundance for her to feed her addiction of having luxuries, her addiction of having the best fur coat. She is consumed by her own greed, and she doesn't care who she hurts to get what she wants. So that's that Five of Swords energy. So she's not only trying to get away with it with the Seven of Swords energy, she doesn't care who she hurts. So she's willing to hurt not only the puppies to get what she wants, but the owners of those dogs who want their dogs back. She would do whatever it takes to get what she wants. The next film is Did You Hear About the Morgans?, which is sort of like a comedy film. And you see in this film, it sort of starts off, it's this married couple who are on a break because he had an affair or he cheated on her. So this is actually something I haven't brought up yet, but it is in a lot of films where there's infidelity, and there is this sort of theme around the infidelity within a partnership. And very much so, that comes under the devil energy. Cheating, infidelity, that promiscuous energy, the devil card that is very much capable of taking us down these roads, taking us down roads where we might make these kind of mistakes and end up really hurting someone. So we have the complete betrayal here with the Three of Swords, where she's been completely betrayed and hurt by her husband. He cheated with another woman, so you have that sort of three energy as well, where that he brought something into the connection to fulfill his own ego, fulfill his own needs with absolutely no consideration of his wife. It was the Seven of Swords because he was trying to get away with it. He didn't get away with it, but he was trying to get away with something, and he didn't actually want to end the relationship. Fair enough, if you cheat and it's because you want to get out of the relationship, you want to end it, but he didn't even want that. He just wanted to fulfill his own ego, fulfill his own sexual desires and needs, but he didn't actually want to lose the marriage. That's why he was trying to sneakily get away with it, even though he didn't. Another energy that you see sort of show up a little bit in this movie is the Emperor energy working with the devil, because you'll see that Sarah Jessica Parker, who played the wife, she was very focused on building her life, her stable life, building her career. She was very much a businesswoman. She was very focused on building the foundation of herself and her empire and fulfilling her own needs and ego with success and achievements. And it was almost that she was so indulged in fulfilling her own need for success and abundance that her husband felt left out or felt abandoned a little bit by her, that's why he ended up cheating. So you see sort of the flip side of the devil card and how it spreads like an infectious disease. It can just start off with she's getting too into her own success and ego, but this actually ended up affecting the people around her so much so that her husband ended up cheating, and then that ends up causing her heartbreak. And it's just like this domino effect. The devil card seems to have this very much a domino effect on people's lives, that it starts with one thing and it just tumbles into more things. It's like this endless destruction, and how much it can really take hold of us, and it will take you in the end to that tower moment, because if you keep dabbling with the devil energy too much and becoming very consumed by the obsessions, the addictions, the control, the power, the being so fixated on material, you really will end up driving yourself to that tower card. It will happen because, like I said, it's just one thing after the other. It really does spread like a virus. So the next film is Sleeping with the Enemy. And you'll see in this film, it is very much about a toxic relationship. The main character, played by Juliette Roberts, is in a marriage, I believe, a relationship with a very abusive, controlling husband. Very much the devil energies. He's very controlling. He's you're mine, you're all mine. He's abusive. He's obsessed with controlling her, and it ends up completely destroying her life, where her life feels empty. She feels like a shell of a person. That is very much the connection that we often see in movies with the Lovers card, the devil and the lovers, where these lovers are really in chains. It's that this love has got to such an unhealthy point where they're really in chains and trapped by the love itself. The devil has really got a hold of them, and in this case she is being almost imprisoned and controlled by her own husband. She's also being abused, so you see the devil working here with the 10 of Swords energy, where she's just being completely battered down and completely destroyed by him. She feels completely powerless. She feels very much unable to escape this. She feels completely done, which is that 10 of Swords energy, and absolutely wounded at the hands of someone else, which we often see with this combination of the devil and the 10 of Swords. It's this unhealthy relationship we see with all three of these cards that leads her to feeling stuck in this 10 of Swords energy. But it's not just like one 10 of Swords moment. It's like in a relationship like this where there is abuse and control and manipulation, it just feels like a 10 of Swords day every day. You just feel completely battered down and powerless. Then you also see the 4 of Pentacles showing up again here, because her husband is really not willing to budge on what he wants and his needs, and he has no other perspective on things, and he's not willing to give her any room for movement. It's very much fixed and controlled and how he wants it, which is of course such strong devil and 4 of Pentacle energies when combined. Eventually, when she tries to escape her husband, she does it in a way which of course is very much 7 of Swords energy. So she actually tries to manipulate the situation to look like she died so that she could actually escape him, and she fakes her own death. So with that 7 of Swords, she's trying to get away with something, and with the devil there, she's trying to manipulate the situation, even though it is for her own good, but she still didn't have sort of the strength to get out in any other way. She had to use those tactics of the devil to escape him, which was manipulation and the trying to get away with that we see with the 7 of Swords. Next film is a film called Obsessed, and the name alone has the devil card energy. Obsessed is such a key word that we think of when we think of the devil. Obsessed, the film, you have a husband and wife, and the husband has like a good job, and there's a new temp at his workplace who ends up becoming very interested in this husband, in fact becomes obsessed and ends up stalking him and trying to manipulate him to having an affair with her, even though it doesn't work. He doesn't want to have the affair with her. He loves his wife, who's played by Beyonce, but he does end up mixing the devil with the moon energy, because even though this woman is trying to trap him, trying to manipulate him into having an affair, he still keeps it secret from his wife, which is that moon energy combined with the devil. He's trying to in turn manipulate his wife into thinking everything's okay, that he's not going through this stressful experience with this other woman at work who is trying to trick him and who is basically stalking him and making his life hell, trying to trap him into some kind of affair where she is completely obsessed with him, which we see with the combination of the devil and the lovers. Like I said, the lovers and the devil often work together. When we see these energies come up in films, you'll often see these working together. It is that obsession that, you know, I won't give up till I get what I want, and it can be very much romanticized, but we do notice that when the role is flipped and it's a woman who's often obsessed with a man, it comes across in scary and undesirable. When it is a man who's pursuing a woman, it can often be seen as, oh, it's romantic, he's pursuing her. But like in Obsessed, the woman is pursuing this man and it's just seen as crazy, it's psychotic, she's obsessed, she's stalking. That is just an interesting thing, how there is this real big difference with when you flip the roles there, when it comes to this like stalking for love story arc. You know, it really is such a different story when it comes to men and women, when the roles are flipped, and it's just absolutely crazy. But that aside, she is obsessed, she is crazy, she's very much that devil and lover's energy in this film. You also see the Seven of Swords show up, because the Seven of Swords will often show up with the devil, because he again is trying to get away with, like we see with the Moon card, with keeping secrets, but he's trying to get away with his wife not finding out. Even though he's actually not had an affair, he's not technically done anything wrong, but he has broke the trust and he's broke that promise to always be honest with each other and share with each other, however hard it is. So again, he's really trying to keep control and manipulation over the whole situation instead of keeping everything out in the open and honest. Then you just see the complete destruction that this woman creates on this family with the Tower card, where their foundation is completely rocked when the wife finds out. She doesn't feel like she can even trust her husband anymore. It ends up putting them on a break. They also have their life affected by this woman, because she just doesn't give up, and then she ends up messing with their son, and she ends up almost getting in like a deadly fight with the wife where it could have gone either way. She ends up dying, but even though it's the obsessed stalker who ends up dying, it just has such a destructive impact on this family, this relationship. So the Tower is very much at play in this movie. So I'm losing the light now, and I didn't realize I've been filming for so long. Hopefully I can edit it down, but I still had a whole list of music that I wanted to go through, but I think I'm gonna have to make this 2 parts. So this would be the end of this part. So we've covered a bunch of movies where we can see the devil energy playing out in these movies so clearly, and then the next half I will record tomorrow and I will talk about some popular songs, and we can see how the devil energy plays such a strong role in the music, the popular music that's around and we listen to, and very much so manipulating our own subconscious minds, because whether we realize it or not, the content we take in, the music, the movies, everything we take in really does seep in to our subconscious and plays a huge role in our lives. So this is why we see so much devil energy playing out in our everyday lives, because it plays such a strong role in the content that we consume, and it's such an interesting subject for me. So this is the devil card part 1, and then the music I'll do in part 2. I do plan on making a sort of series out of this, guys, so please do let me know if you enjoyed this. Let me know if there's any movies that you want me to really go in depth on. So it doesn't need to be devil card related. I will be going over the core energies of the tarot cards when I see them showing up in movies and music. So do let me know if you have any suggestions for me for the rest of the series. I have quite a few ideas that I'm really looking forward to diving into on this subject. I feel like this is a really great way for us to really expand on our own personal knowledge of the tarot cards and the energies that they hold. And when you can start looking at everything in life and seeing how this certain character played in a film, in a story, is really representing this certain energy of a certain tarot card, then we're creating more and more references for our own knowledge, so that when we actually go to do readings for other people or for ourselves or in general, we will have much more to pull from, because we're really sort of making those connections, and we're not just relying on, you know, what it says in a tarot book, what we see in the keywords, but we're actually starting to make those connections with music, with movies, with stories and characters, and really bringing to life the tarot again, because, and bringing it into the modern world as well, because it is such an ancient system. You can sometimes forget how much these archetypes are playing out in the content we consume and in our everyday lives, and it sort of brings a whole new perspective on that. And I find it really fun to sort of dive into this and seek out those archetypes within the content that I'm consuming. So I really hope you enjoyed this. Do let me know your thoughts, your suggestions. If you're not subscribed, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye.